Okay, Tommy, what are we thinking about building today?
Well, I'm thinking about building a bench, something like this right here with open slats on the contemporary side. Something like this, and to hold them together, I'm going to have 4 pieces. One about here, and then another one here, and then one down the end.
Right. And then for the legs, something taper in keeping with that contemporary aesthetic?
Yeah, I'm thinking about a trapezoid frame leg. So there'll be a long piece across the top, and then the legs will come down on an angle, and then a short piece across the bottom to hold the legs together.
Right. And ipe, right?
Yeah, also known as ironwood. Well, the nice thing is we can use it indoor or outdoor.
Gotcha. Okay.
So to get started, we're going to rip these down in half. I want to get the most yield out of each piece. We'll rip it in half, and the bench will be about 1 3/4 inches thick.
All right, let's get to it.
All right. All right, that should be all of the slats that we needed with a couple of extra pieces. Now we're ready to rip down the boards for the legs. Those are going to be wider. I'm going to rip them in 2 passes. I'm going to rip once to take the bevel off of one side, adjust the fence, and rip it again to take the bevel off the other side. All right, so we're ready to build the legs. And as I said, the leg's going to be built with a trapezoid like that. Yep. 4 pieces. It's going to look like similar to that. So when you're making a trapezoid, obviously you can't set your saw to 45 degrees or you'll end up with a 90-degree corner like that.
Yeah.
Okay? So to angle that corner, these 2 angles up here will be 47 degrees.
So steeper than your 45.
Right, and these 2 angles will be 43 degrees.
It's got to add up to 90.
Add up to 90, so we have a good corner, a nice tight corner, and we have our trapezoid.
Okay.
To hold the legs together, we're going to use a mortise and tenon joint so you don't see any mechanical fastening. All right, now before we start assembling, I want to give these pieces a quick sanding, clean them up.
I like these miters, Tommy. Nice and tight.
Nice and tight, and those tenons will hold them for a long time. All right, so we'll let these dry, and then we can start working on the seat. All right, so let me have those. These are the slats that we ripped down right in half of the decking. So I'm going to put it in this clamp that I made. Lay them in here. This is going to hold them all together so we can cut them all at once. By cutting them all at once, we will ensure that they will all line up exactly right. Okay, so let me slide it to you a little bit. What we're going to do is we're actually going to put like a dado right across here. And that dado is going to go halfway through. Now, we're going to cut that dado with a router. So what I have is a sled that I've made up that's adjustable. And right here on my router, I'm going to use a templating guide that I put in the plate of the router with a 1/2 inch straight cutting bit. And this templating guide right here, the edges here, will ride on the edges here. All right, so now we're ready to cut the pieces that are going to hold our slats together and equally spacing them over the width of the seat. We want to have it spaced out like this. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same jig, but on the other side of the jig, on this side of it, I've actually positioned a stop. And that's so when we take these slats, which I'm going to cut all at the same time, first one I'm going to put in there and I can position it where I want it, but we'll slide it up against it and make a stop. Then I'll make a slot here in all of the pieces, pick them all up and drop it on, make another one, pick it up, drop it on. It's a lot like making a box joint for a drawer. Just keep going around like that till we have all of our slots all the way across, and all of our slats will be spaced equally over the width of the seat.
Getting a lot of use out of this jig.
Oh yeah, the jigs are very handy. All right, so now we just pick it up, and slide it over, and hopefully line those up so they go in the slot. Drag it over a little bit. We're ready to cut the next one. All right, everything's sanded, and I think we're ready to start assembling. So we're going to put some glue inside each one of these notches, put it together. Now I'll just take my saw and cut off all the overhanging ends and make them flush. Now I want to mount the bench to the legs. Now we could mount the legs right to the underside of the bench. I don't want the legs to be too wide, but I also want to catch this outside slat. So I've made a piece go all the way out with a slight angle on each end, and I'll mount the legs on top of that.
Look at that, Tommy, huh?
Looks pretty good, huh?
I think it looks really good. I love the lines. I love the way it crosses over here. Terrific.
Very contemporary. Now this is Ipe, so you could use it outside or inside.
And if you used it outside, would you bother finishing it or not?
Well, it'll weather a nice gray, but you could put a finish on it. But if it's inside and you want to varnish it, stain it, seal it, whatever you want to use on it, it's up to you.
All right, well, it looks good already. Nice job.
Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button to make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.